There's a viral claim online that African Americans could lose their citizenship and be deported if the 14th Amendment is overturned. But is there any truth to that? Can African Americans be deported like undocumented immigrants? The answer really kind of requires a deeper dive into the U.S. history, constitutional law, and why the 14th Amendment even exists in the first place. Now, I have to tell you that how I arrived on this topic, I got here by watching a video. I think it may be going viral now, about a young lady who is chastising, if you will, African Americans about their stance on illegal immigrants being deported and birthright citizenship. And I'll just say that, number one, everybody's video is subjective. And number two, we can't generalize a whole group of people. You can't say that all people feel a certain way, or at least I'm uncomfortable saying that, because I've lived long enough to know that people are not a monolith. We all have our own opinions, our own thoughts, on our own feelings on particular topics and issues, and we don't all agree on anything. So to say that all African Americans are happy about this whole birthright citizenship thing is a mess, it's not true. I want for my neighbor what I want for me. I want prosperity. I want health, happiness. I want my loved ones to be free. I want that for all the people in this country, here legal or not. Having said that, I understand that we are a nation of laws and that the laws have to be followed. But here again, my heart bleeds when I see people getting beat by ICE agents. Again, I want to see the law followed, but I have to say that I think there's a better way to do some of what we see transpiring today. But how I got here, like I said, watching this video, and so I want to look at it now, and I may stop some of it as it's playing, just to address some of her topics or some of her talking points.
Because all these FBAs in my comment clearly lack critical thinking skills, because that original video was in reference to me talking about how the ICE raids affect all like black people as well. This is not just a Latino issue, this is a black people issue, but it's been made very clear that y'all don't give a fuck about black immigrants. But you know, the cute little amendment that gave formerly enslaved people citizenship after the Emancipation Proclamation was the 14th Amendment. And you know, Trump is pushing to overturn the 14th Amendment, the same amendment that gave me, a child of immigrant, birthright citizenship, and every single black American in this country citizenship, because they were born in this country, right? If they overturn that shit, none of us are citizens.
Okay, number one, I've been watching the news. You've been watching the news. I haven't seen anything about Trump overturning the 14th Amendment. I'll talk about how difficult that is to do here in a second, but I haven't seen anywhere where he or anybody in his camp has said we want to overturn the 14th Amendment. I don't think that's true. But maybe she's seen something that I have not.
Okay. I might be a guest. Okay, I might not be black American, but guess what? If the 14th Amendment goes, you and I go. Both of us go. And if you don't believe me, watch.
Number two, we all go. Well, where do African Americans go? African Americans are Americans. We've been here much longer than most Americans. You start tracing back our lineage, our DNA, our lineage rather, you will find that we have been here for generations.
Really here. Birthright citizenship. Supreme Court gives Trump a win. What does that mean? The Supreme Court lifted a temporary ban on Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship for children of children of parents unlawfully or temporarily in the United States. Trump celebrated to win as a victory, while others argue that it contradicts the 14th Amendment. So when I said these ICE raids and immigration rights is a black issue, I wasn't being hyperbolic, okay? Because yes, am I thinking about black immigrants? Absolutely. But I'm also thinking about Black Americans in this country who's been here for generations on generations and generations. If they overturn that 14th Amendment, there's no proof that you're a citizen.
Is the immigration ICE raids, are they a thing that we should be concerned about? Yes, of course. Like I said a moment ago, two things. We hate to see anybody rounded up, but at the same time, we are a nation of laws, and the laws have to be followed, right? So that's number one. Number two, again, she is conflating birthright citizenship with the entire 14th Amendment, and that's just crazy, right? I'll get into that here in a second, but the birthright citizenship is a component of it. It's not the whole amendment in its entirety. And what she has to understand, and what everybody has to understand, it's great to say, oh, Black people, they're going to get rid of the 14th Amendment, blah, blah, blah. Okay, maybe they'll try, but it'll be a real uphill battle, right? Number one. Number two, Black people, by and large, Black Americans, some people call them foundational Black Americans, we are citizens. So, of course, we're concerned about everything that happens in this country, but we have citizenship. Okay? We can't be deported because we're citizens.
There's literally none. There's no argument why you should be given a birthright citizenship over me or over an Afro Puerto Rican who's been in New York for, actually that's a bad example because Puerto Rico is literally a property of the United States. Like Afro Panamanian in New York whose parents were born there and they were born there. Nobody's gonna have citizenship. They're gonna pick and choose who they consider citizen. And the difference between, if anything, this should scare you more because I am privileged enough that if the worst case scenario happens and they overturn the 14th Amendment, I have somewhere to go back to.
We don't have to worry about finding a place to go because this is our home.
Black Americans, unfortunately, will not have that privilege because they've been here for 10, 15 generations. They're going to literally create a population of people who have no state, a stateless people, which is exactly what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people.
So also, she said something that I should have addressed then. She said they're going to pick and choose who will be citizens. There'll be no picking and choosing who will be citizens. You have to have a systematic way to do that. You have to have laws in place, and we have laws. We have a constitution. That's not going to happen. And then trying to conflate what you see here happening in our country with what's happening to the Palestinians, that's a leap. That's a leap. But this is social media, so it's cool.
So when I say all of our struggles are interconnected, I was not joking. If you decide to look at things that only affect you, nothing is ever going to fundamentally change. If anything, things are going to get worse. So, yeah.
So that was the video. That really got my wheels turning. And, I understand her point. I think she was getting at it there toward the end, that we should all be concerned with what's going on in our country. And again, I think most of us are. Most Americans are concerned on different levels on both sides of this topic. There are plenty of Americans who agree with what they see happening. There are plenty of Americans who don't agree with it. So one thing about it is it all comes down to voting. And this is what people voted for in the last presidential election. And so President Trump is doing what he was elected to do. But anyway, let me talk some more about this because, again, this one really got me thinking about all of this whole idea of birthright citizenship, who can be deported, and we're going to talk about the 14th Amendment. So the 14th Amendment obviously was created after the Civil War. After the Civil War ended, 1865, the legal status of the formerly enslaved Black people here in this country was in limbo. Our ancestors had been emancipated, but the Constitution didn't guarantee them citizenship. In fact, 1857, Dred Scott versus Sanford had declared that African Americans, whether they were enslaved or free, were not American citizens. It could never be citizens of the United States. That decision was devastating, but the Civil War changed everything. In response, Congress passed the 14th Amendment in 1866 and actually ratified it in 1868. Section 1 of the 14th Amendment says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. This language was deliberate. According to the National Constitution Center, the 14th Amendment was designed to overrule Dred Scott and enshrine birthright citizenship, especially for formerly enslaved Black Americans, into the highest law of the land. Yes, the 14th Amendment is the foundation of Black American citizenship. Without it, the legality of our citizenship would rest on fragile legislative acts that could be repealed or ignored. That's why constitutional protection matters. In legal terms, birthright citizenship means that if you are born on U.S. soil, regardless of race, you are automatically a citizen. That applies to Black Americans, white Americans, and even children born to undocumented immigrants, as reaffirmed by the Supreme Court in United States versus Wong Kim Ark. Or so we thought. See, the young lady was right in this regard. This whole idea of birthright citizenship is being challenged, and this part about it being applied to undocumented immigrants, children born to undocumented immigrants, is the provision or is the piece that we see the Trump administration going after, and that's the portion that we have seen them be successful in their undoing of that. And it's interesting because normally once legal precedent is set, and I'm not a lawyer, but once legal precedent is set, we've always been kind of trained to believe that it will always be a thing. That's not the case now. So, can African Americans be deported like undocumented immigrants? Absolutely not, because we are citizens, and citizenship is a legal status. Undocumented immigrants aren't here legally. They don't have legal citizenship. Black people do, and it's protected by the Constitution. So, can the 14th Amendment be overturned? Now, the young lady was saying that that's what they're after. That's what we have to be careful about, be on guard about. Can it be overturned? Technically, of course it can be overturned. Any constitutional amendment can be repealed, but it is extremely difficult. According to Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution, it takes 2/3 of both the House and Senate and 3/4 of the states to ratify a new amendment that would repeal another amendment. That's 38 out of 50 states would have to vote in favor of getting rid of the 14th Amendment. Last time an amendment was repealed was in 1933. The 21st Amendment repealed prohibition. But repealing the 14th Amendment, that would require massive national consensus, and it would almost certainly trigger all kinds of civil rights and legal crises in this great nation of ours. It's not really realistic politically, and there would be huge constitutional hurdles. So what about Project 2025 and recent online rumors? Because although she didn't mention it in her video, I've seen other social media clips mention this is exactly what Project 2025 was planning, what was mentioned in Project 2025. So the idea there was that conservatives may try to dismantle part of the 14th Amendment, but based on the publicly available information, based on what's written in Project 2025, there is no direct mentioning of repealing the 14th Amendment. Instead, it focuses more on reinterpretation, especially around birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants. But even if the courts were able to reinterpret that clause, and they have, it still won't affect us. It won't affect people whose ancestors have been citizens for generations. Their citizenship is not conditional or revocable under current U.S. law. So let's be clear. Black folks can't be deported like illegal aliens. Their citizenship is constitutional, it's permanent, and protected by the 14th Amendment. While rumors online can be frightening, we have to make sure that we don't give into this fear and understand how to distinguish between political rhetoric and legal reality. Now, the best way to protect citizenship is to stay informed, vote, and understand the Constitution. We can't let fear win. We need to let facts lead the way. So if you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like, subscribe for more content on history, policy, or whatever I'm thinking about that particular day. Drop a comment below. Thanks so much for watching.